Friends, I just we are trying to conclude this particular point over here. What I'm trying to say is, with globalization and so-called post-globalization, vast tracts of lands, doled out to the private, everything that is public, with a democratic, in fact, no governance of the constitution, which has become public resource, are being now given to the private individuals. So we see governments, in fact, now become facilitators of this particular undemocratic, anti-constitutional moves, actually. So what we see is that the Brahminism and capitalism, which are the twin enemies, which Dr. Ambedkar has said, they are strengthening day by day, and in the pretext of development, the reins of economy are given to the individuals who have already been in the possession of all kinds of capital, including the cultural capital. So that's the reason why Ambedkar warned, I quote, in 1953 itself. He said, "It is not enough to keep development as goal for India. Such development should be at the socially desirable level," unquote. But that is exactly what we see. We have missing links between growth and development, and it is increasingly manifest with the prosperity going up other segments of the society. The social and economic divides have widened across the people. That is the research by so many economists, right from Suchitra Sen to Amartya Sen to J and Dredge. Many other people they have acted. Economic globalization divide have become not merely a crony capital, but it became immediately a caste capitalism, which we are calling as those who control the cultural capital. They have, in fact, no, they have control of all the factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, technology, and human capital. And the control over markets also is being owned by these few entrenched privileged castes, actually. So, friends, we find the state gradually disowning its responsibility. But talk about corporate social responsibility. What we need is important to note here is that whatever claims that they make for its efficiency and effectiveness, the so-called private sector, there is no private sector in this country, but I would say the social so-called private sector in this country, actually, which is in the hands of few privileged entrenched castes, it has never been renowned for adherents of collective goals of equality, social justice, and social inclusion. They all always, in fact, now work for their private profit, actually. But today, everything, in fact, now is being turning into their hands, and in the name of CSR, some sort of a perks, in fact, now are being say envisaged by the this particular governance, which of course becomes a marriage. So therefore, friends, as explained by John Dredge and Greidner, they said, I quote, "The high concentration of power and privileges deriving from the combined effects of inequalities based on caste, class, and gender has made an environment that is extremely hostile to social change and broad-based political participation," unquote. The lack of access and service to the minimum subsistence needs, it has exasperated, in fact, the powerlessness felt by most people who belong to the lower caste. So therefore, my dear friends, the deep we go into the exposition of cultural capital, as we have seen the cultural capital in the three forms, actually. One is the embodied state. We have seen the, in fact, of linguistic capital. The Sanskrit today still holds sway as the language of the gods. It is a language of the tongue of the pastoral nomadic, tribes, actually, that has been glorified as, in fact, the source of all knowledge, fountain of all knowledge, and it is being now claimed as the mother of all Indian languages. Actually, the fact is that Sanskrit has taken its script from the Nagari. They call it as Devanagari. They have taken it from Dravidian, kind of a script, and now they claim it as the mother of all languages. They try to have the linguistic capital, and we have seen an objectified stage. We have seen how it becomes a kind of a social capital. Actually, like in a sense, it becomes a symbolic capital as well. So, therefore, my dear friends, what we are now, seeing is cultural capital and its dynamics. They clearly, explain us that establishing, in fact, no democratic society and a free social order is very, very important. Uh, Otherwise, to have a just, equitable, democratic society becomes very, very difficult in this society unless we understand the dynamics of this cultural capital and take up the responsibility to see that India, basically, like in the sense, all sections of the people of this country, all citizens of this country, they have to be, in fact, no shared whatever growth that is being called. In fact, no, what we see today is growth, we see only in times of GDP, but that growth definitely is a skewed growth. Just 1% of the population of this country, they are controlling all the resources, and the 99% of the people, they are bereft and are being drained away this particular thing. So article article 39 of the constitution, it says that it is the responsibility of the state, that's the government, to see that there is no concentration of wealth in few hands. But that has been exactly done. Reverse is being exactly done. The same article says, clause 2 says, it is the responsibility of the state to see, it's not, it doesn't even say, constitution says, it is the duty of the state to see that there is equitable distribution of wealth among all the citizens. But friends, today what we see is exactly the opposite. The castes which are producing castes, they are becoming poor, much poorer, day by day. And the looting, the ciphering of castes, the entrenched castes and the leisure castes who hold the cultural capital, they are becoming, in fact, now beefed up rich and rich every day and all. This has been going because, as Dr. Ambedkar has explained, cultural capital and the twin enemies of interplay of Brahminism and capitalism. So this is how that we understand through this concept of cultural capital, how the gospel of slavery or the enforced poverty, which has been promoted by the Brahminism as an ideology, the caste system as the social stratification, and the cultural capital, they three go in hand in this particular society. So I thank you very much for your patient listening, and also thank you very much for bearing with us for the two interruptions that took place today. And yeah, I invite any of your suggestions, your reflections, your criticisms, and also any kind of yeah, comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor P.D. Satyapal Kumar sir, for your illuminating lecture regarding the cultural capital um, in how it is justifying the different ways of equality. So, yeah, I request participants, if you have any questions or clarifications, if you want, please, this is the time to pose questions to the speaker.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Professor Satyapal has nicely explained the social dynamics and the way Brahminical social order has created, laws and code of conduct, etc., in their favor, though they are in a majority, but at most of the resources they are holding. So, and whatever he told, it was supported by data also. So quantified data. So uh, uh, this is quite appreciating. I appreciate, but I'm wondering what is the solution? What is the action we should take so that we can overcome all those? See, uh, what I understand, they are in a majority, still they are ruling. Wherever we are in the majority, we are also not doing anything. Like in universities, we are in minority, but we are not able to do so. We give the excuses that since we are in the minority, we are not able to do anything. Whereas in society, we are in the majority. We are also not able to do and telling that minorities are ruling on us. So in this way, I'm I'm in dilemma how to go about how to address these problems. So one approach, what I could say, okay, if we are living in some kingdom, so if we are not, if we left that kingdom, so we are not bound to follow their rules, regulation, etc. So that was a kind of conversion. But recently, misleading the Hindu fold, then and embracing Buddhism the way Baba Sahib has shown us the path, and many people, lakhs of people have converted also. But to my surprise, what I could get information last Sunday that one professor Nitin Ramtike from Pune University, he has presented a data from Maharashtra that what is the current status of Buddhist means Buddhist those who converted from SC category means SC Buddhist more specifically. But surprisingly, those data are showing that no improvement has come even compared with SC Hindu. That was very surprising to me. So now I'm very confused how to go about. Even that conversion is also not bringing the change. Very, I expressed my, in fact, Professor Thorat was chairing that session. In that the data where data was presented. So over to you, sir. How to go about what is the solution basically?
Yeah.
Over to you, Professor Satyapal.
Thank you, Dr. Subhash Arya. Uh, Actually, like in the sense, this particular series, as you know, we have taken it up as a kind of a theme called as Ambedkar and his agenda for actually nation building. So what I mean this in this 14 lecture series, I'm trying to like in the sense bring in different facets of Dr. Ambedkar, which has been not been discussed so far, like in the sense from an
Okay.
anthropological perspective. And yes, that particular facet you talked about religion. That also, in fact, now I have studied as Dr. Ambedkar's anthropocentric religion. Actually, that's what I said. So I think
Mhm.
so in that particular sort of topic I will discuss with regard to Dr. Ambedkar and his ideas on religion and also the condition of the convert, because Dr. Ambedkar has written more than 175 pages on the condition of the converts into different religions. Volume 5, I think
Mhm.
so we can find that actually. So I want to bring in those details over here. So last lecture I dealt with, in fact, no, the caste mode of production and then the enforced poverty. So the solution, of course, yeah, I think so. I'll drive the solution is towards that. But one point is that the the oppressed majority, we have to develop, in fact, the consciousness. The consciousness is one, in fact, it is said, as Dr. Ambedkar very clearly explained, caste is a matter of psychology. Caste has not come from above. Caste
The
has been,
notion of mind.
as Dr. Ambedkar said, caste is a device designed to divide. He said caste is a tool. This
Exactly.
tool, in fact, no, has been used by the minority to divide the majority. It is not just division. It is just to make the minority fight among each other as enemies. Had it been a simple division, when there is a necessity, they would come together. But such a situation, caste has system has never created any platforms of dialogue between the oppressed majority caste. At least two castes, we can't see any two castes coming together and discussing their common issue problems.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we will have to break that. If anyone want to break this kind of this thing, they have to break. The oppressed caste should be conscious about their oppression. We are trying to do is, like in the sense that minority, which Dr. Ambedkar said, they have become dominant, entrenched because they are conscious and determined. This oppressed majority, they are not conscious. Many
Yes.
people are not aware what's happening, what changes are happening in the society, and how these changes are grabbed by this minority and then they dominate continuously. वो consciousness in fact तो बढ़ना है. And एक
Yes.
दूसरा basically is that caste is encultured. Where from we get the whole information about caste? No
uh,
Brahmin will come to our home and tell you belong to this caste and he belongs to this caste. That
yes,
caste culture is trained in our own homes, from
exactly.
our own parents, from our own friends, our own relatives. We are encultured saying that we belong to this caste and they belong to that caste. We are superior to them and they are inferior to us. This fellow is superior to us and all. So this culture of inequality, basically, this operationalization of inequality, it is being ingrained, basically, like in a sense, to us by our own selves. So we will have to debase that particular thing.
I
So
agree.
yes, and many of the oppressed castes, basically, very few they think about economic aspects as well. Those organizations or those movements who are working for the liberation of the majority in this country, many of them are looking into social aspects, social kind of oppression, and they also look for political kind of a power. But economic aspect, in fact, not many they think about. But Dr. Ambedkar has very well explained these things. Dr. Ambedkar very well explained the caste mode of production and how it leads to, he simply said, this is not just division of labor, but division of laborers. And he also
Okay.
explained, as we talked today, about cultural capital, how culture becomes a capital for that minority, for the entrenched caste, and that dominates. So my intention is that, in fact, now at least the academics, we should understand these dynamics, and slowly, like in sense, after these things, probably I will come back to that particular solution part, what we need to do actually. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I would rather
Yeah.
like
So
to.
so far as so far as topic of this today's lecture is concerned, that is far excellent. You have comprehensively explained to us. Thank you so much, and I must congratulate also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Dr. Subhash, may I know where you work actually? We met just now.
I'm working in Northeastern Hill University, Shillong,
Oh,
Department
good.
of Electronics and Communication.
Okay, okay, great, great, great. Okay. And you have a colleague over here, Ashok.
Yeah, Dr. Ashok is here. In
Yes,
fact,
yes,
he
yes.
has shared this link. That is why I
Oh,
should thank to him
great,
also.
great,
Thank
great.
you, Dr. Ashok, for sharing the link and giving me opportunity to listen Professor Satyapal, sir.
So I
Welcome,
can
sir.
also, I think so, Dr. Pedrete also can send you the previous three talks actually,
Okay, okay. That shall be nice.
so that you
Thank
can
you.
appreciate this, what has happened so far. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Subhash, actually. So nice having you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Rataya.
Sir, is there any, I'm asking the participants, is there any other person to pose questions? The internalization of the cultural capital from the top to the bottom of the ladder of the caste strata, that unconscious the imposition, people are not consciously aware of it. Some of them are from the childhood, the system is justified by this cultural capital. So how to break this cultural capital and promote a kind of culture of equality, culture of collective well-being and common good, and culture of personal responsibility, and the progress of every individual and the development of every community. So that kind of culture, how to bring that alternative culture and create a kind of cultural capital which promotes brotherhood and integrity and dignity and true liberty and freedom to choose whatever the occupation that they want and aspire for better future and acquire the good education and increase their assets base. All those things, alternative cultural capital should be facilitated. And so in the process, the worldview or uh, the thing which through the glasses through which people see the world around, and so the um, unwanted and the inequality that is justified. So reflection, promoting the self-reflection and promoting the group consciousness or the conscientization or collective, raising the collective awareness levels and discussions about the ongoing injustice and unconstitutional ways of doing things. So those things need to bring to the front so that people can really, for example, the statistical analysis and the screens that Professor Satyapal sir shared are really eye-opening. Oh, the reality, the structure, the position of what is going on in Indian society. So, like this, the raising awareness levels and asking people to reflect and asking what are the reasons that people still carry being the educated, because uh, crores of people they are now have access to education. Still, from people from lower caste strata are entering the university education, and tribals are also entering the university education to some extent. But what what is the kind of reflection? What are the kind of collective action they are doing for themselves and for the fellow tribals or fellow community members? Those collective responsibility and personal responsibility in raising the awareness levels and really thinking of how to come out of this vicious chain, which is already existing and prevailing powerfully and suppressing psychologically and crippling the ways, habits of thinking and and damaging their ways of acquiring the education or competencies or whatever. So that unhealthy cultural capital should be altered or replaced by the healthy collective positive culture. So those are the things uh, the educated people, particularly from the people who suffer the inequality, should come together and have a discussion and formulate strategies. Yeah, that's why the unpacking the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's anthropological school of thought and his understandings, his knowledge, and his theoretical contributions in explaining the Indian society, in explaining in interpreting the Indian culture, and for example, the cultural capital. All these things really brings us insights for application, and we should uh, uh, means it's our responsibility to develop the required applications to address these serious issues and problems. If these problems continue to prevail, already enough damage is being done all through the centuries. And if the educated community do not come together and reflect on the seriousness of the exploitation and justification of the injustice being done to the vast majority of the population of the Indian society. There is a moral responsibility of each and every educated person, and even people who are educated from the higher caste. It is also their responsibility, and it's also everybody's responsibility to do something to alter this prevailing cultural capital and bring the positive cultural capital to make the excellent contribute to social development and collective well-being, to promote the peaceful social coexistence, to avoid the unintended conflicts and unintended ethnic conflicts and all those things. So, yeah, it is good that the Brahmins hold assets and access the many resources. But on par with Brahmins, all other communities, all other caste people also should access and have the ability and the freedom to create the assets and access all the resources. That kind of culture. We are not against Brahmins having access to education or asset and higher positions. We are not against to that, but we are questioning why vast majority of the Indian population is not able to acquire that kind of positions. What makes them stuck somewhere, and what are the social stigmas and the cultural obstacles, and what are the hindrances they really face in their journey of overcoming the people from higher caste and lower caste, and everybody should feel responsible to tackle these serious issues, so that our country, the process of nation building might really be facilitated, so that our nation might be setting an example for sending a positive message to the other nations of the world. So that's where everybody should, it's a personal responsibility, every person, particularly learned people from all caste groups should come together, really build the culture of brotherhood and responsibility and respect for others, and respect for the legitimate differences, so that our country, India, really can make a progress and achieve development, and really promote peace, and distribute the benefits of development and the benefits of technology to every citizen in this nation. So that's why this course on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and the agenda for nation building is such an important course, and we really cherish each and every lecture delivered by Professor P.D.Statyapal Kumar sir. We are really indebted to him because of all his hard work, and even though he's busy with the research projects and academic assignments and many other responsibilities, and he's making himself available for to serve uh, these kind of excellent and beautiful the gifts of knowledge to illuminate the young minds and the scholars and professors across the country. Yeah, I look forward to learn many more things from him. And dear participants, we are all responsible. We don't want any more justification of the this kind of unequal cultural capital, and we want to put full stop period to that, and we want a future for our children and for future generations, a culture of brotherhood, a culture of equality, a culture of justice, a culture of dignity and autonomy, and respect and responsibility, and particularly personal responsibility and collective responsibility, so that we can really dream that kind of future for our future generations. It's the responsibility of the present generation, particularly the academics and the administrators and politicians, and this business sector or private sector. And also I call upon this media and press, and we want to take these kind of important lectures to the TV channels, and in future continuous education in all of the country. The TV channels will engage this kind of raising the awareness, respect for each individual human. Um, we have 140 crore humans in India, but making them being human, making them understand what exactly it means to be human. So those are the things we are interested. So International Institute of Anthropological Applications is making way and making little by little incremental basis progress towards developing applications, raising awareness levels, promoting positive understandings, and developing the positive attitudes so that people might understand the importance and they apply it to their personal lives and their social relations, so that collective responsibility and to build the voice for justice and equality and brotherhood and human dignity. An alternative culture, a beautiful culture, a sustainable culture that will really promote peace and development for everybody. I stop here. So, dear friends, is there any person to raise questions, or I'm going to close this session? Thank you for your participation, and thank you and excellent lecture which is very informative and useful. And yeah, thank you so much.